do not visit Argentina until you have watched this video, because in today's video I'm going to give you 5 key things that you need to know before you visit Argentina. Now, something to bear in mind is that the situation in Argentina, the political situation, the economic situation is always changing. Unfortunately, the economy has struggled in recent years and there's really high inflation, so things are always changing. But I am in Argentina right now, so I did want to share with you these 5 key things that you should bear in mind before you do come to Argentina as of today. Now, before I do go into the list of things you need to know, I would recommend that you go to the description, because in the description I do have lots of links to travel products. So for example, if you go to the top link, you can actually sign up to a side hustle where you can make money online, which can help you out with your travels, funding your travels and your expenses. I've also got links to travel insurance, links to Trivago where you can book hotels, links to Skyscanner where you can book your flights. Also, there's a link to the Level 8 website, which sell and produce high quality bags, rucksacks, suitcases and luggage for your trips. So there's lots of links there. I've also put a link there where you can book a guided tour of Buenos Aires when you do come to Buenos Aires. So that may be something that you're interested in. Again, do check out the description. I'll also drop all the links in the comment section too, so you can see them all in the comments as well. But anyway, we're now going to get into the video, the top 5 things that you should bear in mind before you do come into Argentina. Now, the first thing that you do need to bear in mind when you come into Argentina is actually the process of getting through the border, whether that's the land border or the air border at the airport. It's likely that they're going to ask you for proof of where you're staying. So it's not like many places in Europe which just stamp your passport and let you in. In Argentina, it's likely that they will ask you for proof of the address of the accommodation that you're staying at. So you do need to have that handy on you. Now, they can give you Wi-Fi if you don't have any signal, but I would personally have that handy on your phone, or perhaps have a printed copy of your address of your accommodation so that they can see your accommodation address. They'll probably also ask you for the purpose of your trip too, so you will get a bit of light questioning, but nothing too intense. Oh, and also they don't stamp your passport, so you don't get an Argentinian passport stamp because they do it all electronically anyway. Now, the second thing you need to know about Argentina is that you do not need to be fluent in Spanish to survive a trip to Argentina, but you do need to know some basic Spanish to get by. Now, obviously you've got your basics, hola, gracias, por favor, which you should know. Now, they don't say adios here, they say ciao here. It's more Italian influenced here. Now, on top of your real basics, you do need to know your numbers 1 to 10, I would say. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, 2 more you should know as well. So, 100 means 100. And mil means 1,000. So that comes in very handy, especially when you're dealing with the currency here, because the currency values are very large. Now, let's say you're gonna have a meal out and there's 3 of you. So you're gonna go to the restaurant and you're gonna say, mesa para tres, por favor, which obviously means table for 3, please. Now, let's say you finished your meal. What are you gonna ask the waiter or the waitress for? You're gonna say la cuenta, por favor, which is the bill. Now, in terms of paying for your food or paying for your coffee, these are some real key words you do need to know. So tarjeta is card. So therefore tarjeta debito is debit card and tarjeta credito is credit card. Now, if you want to pay in cash, or perhaps the place you're at does not accept card, then that means you're going to be paying in efectivo. Efectivo is cash. Now, if someone asks you to pay in cash, you've got to listen out for that word efectivo. Okay, efectivo, cash. And also I just recommend some basic foods to learn as well. So pollo, chicken, carne, meat, jamon, ham, queso, cheese, huevo, egg, leche, milk. Just knowing some of these basic foodstuffs does really help out. And also just a couple of other phrases that I think are going to be really useful too. Hablas inglés means do you speak English? So if you want help and want to know if someone speaks English, hablas inglés. Most people do not speak English here, but if you do really need help with something and you need it in English, you can always ask hablas inglés. Now, if you're in a shopping center or a market or a restaurant or a coffee shop and you need the toilet, a good phrase to know is tienes un baño. So la baño is the toilet. Oh, and if you are planning to have some Argentinian steak, I'd recommend that you say jugoso to the waiter, because jugoso means rare. So if you are looking for rarer steak, say jugoso, otherwise the meat is going to be very well cooked and very tough. Right, I'm going to finish my little Spanish lesson for today, but the point is, yes, you do need to know some basic Spanish to get by in Argentina. So now the third thing that you need to know about Argentina is that Argentina requires you to take safety precautions. Now, Argentina is a struggling country. There is a lot of poverty and there are a lot of neighborhoods that are quite dodgy that you want to avoid. But also in the relatively safe areas, you do need to take safety precaution. People are really struggling in the country at the minute. So that means you do get a lot of opportunist thieves. It is very common for people to get their phone stolen when they're not paying attention. I would honestly recommend that if you are going about during the day or during the nighttime, I would recommend that you have a burner backup phone to use when you are going about your daily or nightly activities, and keep your new latest smartphone indoors would be my recommendation. My recommendation would be, do not get out your smartphone unless you see other locals nearby in the neighborhood that you are in with their smartphones out, because if no one has a smartphone out, I think you should hide it. Or if you feel that there's any sense of danger or some sketchy looking people walking about near you, hide your phone, hide your valuables. So I do recommend that you do your research in terms of safe-ish neighborhoods and where you want to stay. You can ask me in the comment section if you do have any questions in terms of the safe areas of Buenos Aires or the safe areas of perhaps Cordoba or Mendoza. Just let me know in the comments if you do have any questions in terms of where are the best neighborhoods in the cities to stay and which neighborhoods you should avoid. Now for me, I've been in Argentina for over 2 weeks now, and it's a bit strange because I've not really felt in any danger at many points in this trip. I've not really felt sketched out or particularly worried about my safety, but you hear so many times that people get their phones stolen, or even worse, people get mugged. So you do hear these stories, so you do need to be street smart, you do need to be careful. But for me, I felt pretty safe on this trip. There's not been many occasions where I felt anxious on my safety, but there have been a couple of times where I've been walking down empty, sparse streets where there are some dodgy looking people about, where I felt a little bit nervous, a bit intimidated. But apart from that, I've not felt much danger on this trip at all, to be honest with you. So as long as you do your research and you know the right areas to stay, and you keep street smart and you look about and you keep your wits about you and you're aware of your surroundings and you're looking at other locals to see how they're behaving, as long as you're smart and you do your research, you should be absolutely fine. But you do need to bear in mind your safety. You can't just neglect it like you can in many places in Europe where you can like walk around with all your valuables and nothing's going to happen. You can't do that in Argentina. There's too much poverty here, too much crime here. You do need to pay attention. Now, moving on to the fourth thing that you need to know before you come to Argentina, you need to be up to date with the money situation. Now, the money situation, the economic situation is always changing in Argentina. The inflation is extremely high, but the key things that you need to know currently at the time of recording this video, they use the Argentine peso in Argentina. They do not use US dollars. I know that the current president is planning to gradually move to US dollars, but that won't be for another good few years yet. They use the Argentine peso. You cannot pay with dollars here. You need Argentinian pesos. So now a big question is, do they accept credit card in Argentina, or do you need cash throughout? Now, I would honestly recommend that you do get some Argentinian pesos in cash, because not absolutely everywhere accepts card. Now, most places actually do accept both debit and credit card, but I did go to one place, one restaurant, where they did not accept credit card. They accepted debit card, but not credit card. So I would say that you should have some cash on you. Now, how are you going to get Argentinian pesos? Are you going to go to a bank and withdraw pesos out of a bank? No, you should not do that. What you should do is, before your trip, you should get some US dollars. So you should get a couple of hundred US dollars is what I'd recommend, depending on like how long your trip is in the first place. But if you're going for a couple of weeks, few weeks, get a few hundred US dollars. And what you should do is contact your apartment host, or contact your hotel, contact your accommodation, and ask them for a cambio. A cambio is an exchange person or an exchange company, and a cambio will exchange your United States dollars in cash into Argentine pesos in cash. Now, can you bring British pounds or euros and exchange that for Argentine pesos? I would not recommend it. Most places will only accept US dollars in cash. You cannot go to a cambio and give them British pounds. They won't accept it. Some places may accept euros. I mean, it it really does depend, but I would recommend you get US dollars, and you can exchange US dollars at a cambio that your hotel or your accommodation recommends, and that's where you're going to get your Argentine pesos, because at ATMs and banks the fees are extremely high to withdraw money. So you want to go to a currency exchange, a cambio trusted from your accommodation, and that's where you get your Argentine pesos. Now on this trip I've been using a mixture of Visa credit card and cash in Argentine pesos, and actually I've been really surprised because my Visa credit card has actually given me a really good exchange rate, and in fact what I'm paying on my Visa credit card here has actually been cheaper and worked out cheaper than what I'm getting from my Argentine pesos after I convert my pounds into dollars and then convert my dollars into Argentine pesos at a cambio. So if you do have a Visa card, you may actually get a better rate using that Visa credit card or your debit card on Visa than using cash. However, I do recommend you get some cash because you will need some cash in your trip, because again there are some places that just do not accept credit card. For example, as well, buses, some public transport as well will not accept credit cards, so you do need cash on you. Now if you do read some articles and some blogs online about Argentina in recent years, you may see something about a blue dollar rate, and you'll see lots of people online saying, oh, Argentina is so cheap, if you use the blue dollar rate it's as cheap as Southeast Asia and it's so cheap here. Those times have gone now. The currency was devalued by the president Milei. It was devalued forcefully, and also inflation is just extremely high. So no, it's not dirt cheap. It's not as cheap as Southeast Asia. Anyone who tries to tell you that these days is just giving you outdated information. I would say the prices here are comparable to Eastern Europe, places like maybe Serbia, Bosnia, Romania, those kind of countries. That's kind of the prices you'll be paying here. However, if you do want to get this blue dollar exchange rate, which is essentially the best exchange rate you can get in Argentina, what you have to do is you have to have a Western Union account. You have to send yourself US dollars on your Western Union account and then go to a Western Union and pick up the Argentine pesos from what you sent from your US dollars. So you do save money if you use this method, but to be honest, these days, is it really worth the hassle? It may not be worth the hassle. A year ago, 2 years ago, it absolutely was worth the hassle because of the difference, the big difference between the blue dollar rate and the actual official exchange rate. It absolutely was worth sending yourself money to Western Union and then getting your money at Western Union, because you would have got a much better deal. But because the blue dollar rate is actually pretty similar to the real exchange rate these days, is it really worth the hassle? I mean, it's up to you if you think it's worth the hassle. For me, it wasn't. I just brought some US dollars in cash, exchanged it at a cambio, and also used my credit card too. So it's really up to you whether you want to save a little bit of extra money or not. And now the fifth thing that you need to be aware of before you come to Argentina is that things take time. Service at restaurants takes time. Don't expect a waiter or waitress to quickly serve you and get your order when you're at a restaurant or a coffee shop. You're going to have to put your hand up. You're going to have to be brave and get their attention, because sometimes they do take an extremely long time. And also, annoyingly, it can be the same with accommodation hosts. For example, if you've booked an apartment, an Airbnb, a guest house, and if you've arranged to meet the host at a particular time, you should not always expect the host to be on time. They could be late. They may say that they're going to be a few minutes, and a few minutes may turn into half an hour. So don't expect people to be on time. In Latin America, people just don't turn up on time. Now, of course, buses, trains, public transport absolutely do turn up on time. You can't be late for those. Official transport is on time, but people that you may meet, or waitresses, waiters in restaurants, not always on time. Oh, and one more little bonus thing that you should be aware of before you come to Argentina. This here is the type of plug you will need in Argentina. This is the accepted plug throughout all of the accommodations and homes you'll be staying at. However, some places you can fit in your European plugs, so the same plugs that you would use in Europe. You can fit those into some sockets at some accommodations and some hotels, but not all of them. All of these plugs that you see on the screen here will be accepted everywhere, so make sure you have these plugs and maybe bring an extra European one just in case you are lucky, but this here is the plug that you want to use, not any other one. Now, do let me know in the comments again if you do have any questions on anything that I mentioned in today's video. Also, do let me know in the comments if you are planning a trip to Argentina sometime soon. Let me know where you're going, which cities and destinations you're planning to visit, or if you're from Argentina or if you've been here before. Do let me know your tips in the comment section as well, just so we can have lots and lots of tips on the comment section for travelers who are coming to Argentina. So again, I do hope that you have enjoyed this video and it's been helpful to you. If it has, click the like button, really does help out the video. And also do subscribe to my channel for more travel content. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.